Hi everyone. I just want to clarify a little mistake in my bio. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow just at Swinburne. I did my PhD at Swinburne and Cairo. So I will talk about some very basic astronomy. So given that you guys are here, I hope you're not going to be too bored, because since you're here, you're probably interested in science. So maybe you'll find it all too basic. But quite often when I talk to non-astronomers, I'm surprised that people don't know even the very basics. So I thought I'll give this talk, and that's also going to be a nice introduction for talks by Alan and Matthew. So I'll just talk about, when you look at the sky, you see a lot of stars. So I just wanted to give you a little of an overview of sort of how stars are made, what stars actually are, and how they are connected to us and just to the universe. So what can we see when you look? Oh, is it playing? Yeah. Okay. Can someone tell me if it's playing?
No.
No? Alright. So I can see it. It's annoying. Alright, so basically when you look with just our own eyes, we can see maybe 2.5 million light years away. So there are stars and galaxies that are bright enough that we can actually see them with our naked eye from quite a long distance away. So 2.5 million light years, that means that light takes 2.5 million years to get from there to us. So we're looking also in the past, 2.5 million years. If you have a sort of amateur telescope that you can buy at any store, you can actually look back much, much further. So you can see more than 2 billion light years away. So you're actually looking, a significant fraction of the age of the universe back in time. And you can see a lot of distant objects, that is quasars. So quasars are actually very distant galaxies. And then if you have a sort of professional telescope, this is Hubble Space Telescope, you can see a little bit further. So almost all the way to the first galaxies. And then, this is an example of Hubble's deep field. And you can see lots and lots of galaxies. And they all have a lot of stars, of course, just like our own galaxy has. And then if you look even further back, so you need some special instruments, such as Planck satellite or WMAP. You can actually see pretty much to the very beginning of the universe. You can see the Big Bang. And you see this in a sort of, you see these tiny variations at the very beginning of the universe. And they actually are connected to just stars. And we'll get back to that later. Alright. So what are stars? So the best example of a star is just the sun, because that's the star that's closest to us. But apparently some people don't know that the sun is a star, I was told. So just in case, I'll point it out, it is a star. But what are stars in general? They're basically giant balls of mostly hydrogen, so just the lightest element we have. And about 3/4 of a star, such as the sun and pretty much any other star, is hydrogen in terms of mass. Not So 3/4 of the mass of almost any star will be hydrogen. So how come this? And sun, of course, and any other star is very heavy. In fact, sun is actually a fairly small star. So you could ask yourself, how come this giant ball of gas doesn't collapse? Well, that's because there are two factors at play. On one hand, gravity, so the same thing that holds us on Earth, and we're not flying off into space, is also trying to compress that giant ball of gas so that it collapses onto itself. And then when it keeps collapsing, the gas, so this hydrogen, keeps warming up and it gets really, really hot at the center of this giant ball of gas, and it can start nuclear fusion and basically produces energy in that process. So hydrogen can fuse into helium, and we get a little bit of energy, quite a bit of energy out of that, and that creates pressure. All that energy, basically, one of the easier ways to think about it is that basically when you heat up the gas with all that extra energy, the gas molecules and particles are moving faster and faster, so you're basically sort of pushing the gas further out. And that, at some point, the pressure of the gravity and of that heat balances out, and we have a fairly stable situation, like the sun. So the sun is actually sort of a middle-aged star. It's about 5 billion years old, and it's going to stay just like we see for maybe another 5 billion years. What's going to happen next, we'll get to that later. But, so where does that gas come from in the first place? So we have to actually go back to this, well, this is not the same image, but a similar image to what I've seen before, but this is just a still image. So we have to go back all the way to the beginning of the universe to explain where that gas comes from. So of course we don't really know where the universe comes from, but once we had the universe and there was a Big Bang, we basically had just a giant, or well, initially a very small space full of energy, and there were tiny little fluctuations. And initially, the universe was so small, so dense, and so hot that basically no atoms and no elements could form. So it was mostly radiation and some subatomic particles. But the universe started cooling very quickly and expanding, and basically, at some point it became cold enough that we could form sort of fairly normal particles, such as neutrons and protons. So a proton is basically hydrogen. The element of hydrogen is just a single proton. And there can be, if it's not ionized, there will be an electron orbiting it. But anyway, so there was a lot of hydrogen, and it was very hot. And also, there was a lot of neutrinos, sort of very elusive particles that we can see with other types of experiments. And those neutrinos and protons started interacting, and we end up with about maybe a mix of 10 protons per every neutron. And because the universe is still very dense and very hot, those atoms of hydrogen are basically smashing into each other, and we're going to form helium. But we can't really produce anything heavier, because even if the two atoms of helium will collide, they can form a heavier element, beryllium, but that is not stable, and it will just fall apart very quickly. So after maybe 3 minutes of lifetime of the universe cools down, and it's not dense enough and not hot enough to form new particles. So in the first 3 minutes, we created a sort of primordial giant cloud of gas, and that gas is basically 75% hydrogen and 25% helium. And that's pretty much the case also these days. And if you think about it, we're not made of hydrogen and helium. I mean, we do have quite a bit of hydrogen in our bodies, but not, we also have other things. And all those tables are, of course, not made of only hydrogen and helium. So where do all those other elements come from? Oh, and I forgot to change the slide. So this is just an image showing, how the protons can collide and form heavier elements, which I already discussed. So when we have this giant, cloud of gas, because of those tiny fluctuations in the early universe, they can actually start, we have some areas with slightly larger densities than others, and that means that the gravity will make that gas start collapsing. And that's how you basically get beautiful things like that. Although this is, of course, not an image from the very early universe. This is a sort of a modern image of a not so far away star-forming region. So basically, the sort of dark areas you see is just gas and dust. And basically those clouds of gas and dust are not stable, so they will start collapsing. And once they become hot enough, we basically get first stars. So once the universe gets those first stars, there's still only hydrogen and helium. There's a tiny little mix of other elements, but it's really almost negligible. So where do all those other elements come from? Well, inside the stars, we're burning hydrogen into helium, and if the star is large enough, because the larger it is, the hotter it's going to be at the core, it's going to burn also helium into heavier elements. And we can keep going like that all the way up to iron. So all the elements up to iron and lighter are actually made inside of a stellar core. So of course, that doesn't really help us much here, because all that stuff is inside a star, so there is no way it could have made it to Earth, and we can't use it in any way. So just before we explain how we get that iron out of the cores of the stars, let's talk a little bit more about stars. So here you can see in the panel number 1 just a few planets from our solar system, and they're in scale. And then as we swap from panel to panel, the largest object from one panel is the smallest object in the next panel. So you can see how much smaller Earth is compared to other planets in our solar system, like the Jupiter at the end of panel 2. And then on panel 3, you can compare it to the Sun. So the Sun is the third object in the panel number 3. So you can see that basically all those bodies are getting bigger and bigger And while we tend to think of Sun as a huge object, then it's actually a fairly small star. So you can keep going and keep getting bigger and bigger stars, compared to which Sun is really minuscule. And all those bigger stars are just getting denser at the core and hotter, so they can produce heavier and heavier elements. But it's never possible to produce anything beyond iron inside during just normal fusion inside a star. So another way to look at this sort of, so basically when you get that ball of hydrogen and it's hot and dense enough inside, you start producing those elements. But what happens when, let's say, we run out of fuel? Or in fact, we won't run out of fuel, but what's going to happen is that all the available fuel, such as hydrogen or some other elements, is going to be burned up inside at the very heart of the star, and we only will have some material left its entire layers. So it can happen that that layer is no longer hot enough to fuse heavier elements, and basically the formation of elements stops inside the star. So in other words, you can think of a star sort of as a butterfly. So when you think of a butterfly, it has a few stages in life. So there are eggs, and there's a caterpillar, and we have a sort of a chrysalis, and then we have a butterfly, and then butterfly can lay eggs, and the cycle repeats. So this is actually very similar to what happens to stars. So if you, the sort of red cloud in the middle, that's a star. That's a gas cloud. So it's the sort of a gas cloud that could have been formed in this early universe. And then, so if it starts collapsing, we get a star-forming nebula, and a protostar, so basically a ball of hydrogen that's not heavy enough and not hot enough to actually burn elements. And then if we get a bit more material onto it, we get a star like our Sun. So as I said, a fairly small star. And then basically what's going to happen once Sun is burned out in about 5 billion years, the Sun will run out of hydrogen and helium and other elements in layers that are hot enough to burn these elements. And then it's going to, well, it's actually a little bit complicated. So I'm not going to explain in detail, but basically it's actually going to be a little bit counterintuitive because the Sun will start expanding instead of collapsing. So it's going to form what we call a red giant. And actually the red giant will be so large that Earth's orbit will be consumed, Earth's orbit will be inside the star. But of course we don't have to really worry about that because that's going to be in 5 billion years. So don't stress, if humanity is still around, we'll probably be so advanced that won't be a problem for us. But 5 billion years is much more than a typical lifetime of a species. Alright. And then the red giant will, basically the outer layers of the red giant will be just blown away, and we get this beautiful planetary nebula that we can see. Many of the images you would have seen from sort of astronomical magazines would have been planetary nebulas, just because they're very beautiful. And then we're left with just the very core of the star, and we call it a white dwarf. And it's sort of an Earth-sized stellar remnant. But stars can be also much heavier than the Sun. So you can see that this star is not only bigger, but also has a different color, and that's actually a real difference. The bigger the stars are, the hotter they are, and they're bluer. So the difference is that we don't get a giant, but we get a supergiant. So something much, much bigger than the Sun, or the original star, or even the giant that the Sun will turn into. And that red supergiant is going to start collapsing at some point. And at the heart of that supergiant is also a very dense core. And at some point, you basically, all the material falling onto that core is just going to bounce back in a very explosive manner. So you get a very short flash of explosion, and the whole, or most of the mass of the star gets ejected into the surrounding universe. And we can end up either with a neutron star or a black hole. And I think Matthew will talk about black holes. Alright, so just a quick movie. Can someone tell me if it's playing? What about now?
Yes.
Alright. So basically, you can see that basically the material inside, in the outer layers of this red supergiant keeps falling in, and there is this dense core which is left from this nuclear fusion in the early stages of life. And it will bounce back soon. Yeah, so as I said, we can only fuse elements up to iron because fusing heavy elements requires more energy than is available. Except when you have an explosion like that, because then suddenly you have a lot of energy. And as a matter of fact, such an explosion makes that one star brighter than a whole galaxy in which it resides. Alright, so that was basically that. Whoops, that shouldn't happen. So this is just a very quick, in case you're wondering what's a neutron star, this is something that I professionally work on, one of the topics. So just a very quick explanation. Neutron star is something that's can be left after a supernova. If the progenitor star wasn't too heavy, it won't collapse all the way to a black hole, but it can stop a sort of neutron star. And just for those maybe with a little bit more background in physics, that's because we have so-called Pauli's principle, which means that particles which are fermions cannot get close to each other. And that means that there's a little bit of extra pressure which stops the collapse of the star. And we get this very small, sort of city-sized star, which is maybe 50% heavier than our sun. So this is actually quite incredible if you think about it. It's something that's smaller than Melbourne, but it's heavier than the sun. All right. So this is pretty much the whole life cycle of a star. And this is where all the elements in the universe come from. So basically, after the explosion of the supernova, or also when sun creates this planetary nebula, we get a lot of gas just floating around, and that gas is chemically enriched. So all the elements, or a large fraction of the elements that were produced either during the nuclear fusion or during the supernova explosion itself, are basically taken out of the star and spread around in the surrounding vacuum, which is actually not completely vacuum. There's always a little bit of gas floating around, and that's how you get, things like Earth, because all that gas will at some point start collapsing again, and we get, planets with heavy elements like, like iron and even heavier elements. So, all the computers you have, all your smartphones and so on, all of that, including most of our bodies, was made inside of stars. And that's pretty much all of my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Are there any questions for Stefan? Can you shout them out loud? Sure.
Do any of the elements beyond uranium get formed in those supernovae?
I'm actually not sure.
Did everyone hear the question?
Oh, sorry.
Go again.
Do any of the elements beyond uranium that we've made on Earth, like plutonium, do they get formed in supernovae?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. You will get a lot of elements formed which are just very unstable, and they will just...
Well, they're all unstable after uranium.
Yeah, so I think they are formed, but of course, we don't get them...
But we've not seen any traces, like in any spectra?
You might be able to see them in spectra, but this is not my area of expertise, so I'm not sure specifically about those. Maybe Oliver will help you know.
That's all right.
If there's any observational evidence of that happening.
Any other questions? Sir.
You started to talk about the Big Bang. Is there any theory about the event that started before the Big Bang? Or...
There are some, but that's a whole different talk. But I mean, in general, there are 2 or 3 classes of such theories. But they're really purely speculative. So one theory is that basically the universe always existed. And it's basically, if the universe is dense enough, on average, it will start collapsing at some point. So at the moment it's expanding, but if there is enough mass inside the universe, it can start collapsing. So instead of getting cooler and less dense, it's actually going to get denser and hotter again. And you get to a stage where you basically, what sometimes referred to as the big crunch, where the universe becomes tiny, and you basically get like a, explosive, because it just sort of like a supernova, it just becomes too dense and too hot, and it explodes again. So it could be an infinite cycle. Another theory is that there's some sort of a multiverse where there's just multiple universes and they just sort of keep popping up everywhere. Or it could be also that every black hole starts a new universe. There's a lot of theories, but they're all very speculative. It's very hard to have any sort of observational evidence for this sort of theories.
Any other questions, please? So, Stefan, I have a big question for you. Is how many stars in our galaxy?
Is it 100 billion? Yeah, 100 billion. And our galaxy is not so large.
And how many galaxies in our...
It's roughly the same number of stars in our galaxy as there are stars, as there are galaxies in the
But that very
universe.
big number was...
100 billion.
100 billion.
A lot of stars to study. So,
Hello, thank you for the talk. My question is, what's the difference between a white dwarf and a neutron star?
So white dwarf is much bigger. So it's about Earth size, so planet size. And the white dwarf, the collapse is stopped not by degenerate neutrons, but by electrons. So electrons also...
sorry.
So when you get electrons close enough to each other, they also don't like that, and they'll basically generate additional pressure. And if the star is fairly small, like our sun, that will be enough to stop the further collapse. And if the star is heavier, then perhaps you get enough pressure from neutrons, and if not, you just get a black hole.
Any other questions? Can you shout it? And if we can't hear it, I'll repeat it.
I was just wondering, is there a limit to how big stars can actually get? Can they theoretically
Is there a limit to how big these stars can get?
Can they theoretically become just
How big or how many?
how big they
How
can
big?
actually get?
Yeah, so there are some limits, but I think, as far as I know, the limits are very, it's sort of just an educated guess. So basically, you know, if you keep pumping more gas onto the same ball of gas, it's getting hotter and hotter, and basically, you know, there will be some tipping point where the sort of pressure of the nuclear fusion will be going faster and faster in the core because the core is denser and hotter. So you will get some tipping point where basically as soon as you put more mass, it gets blown away of the surface of the star. And I think that limit is about 150 times heavier than the sun. But also, I think there are some early observational indications of that not being quite correct.
Any other questions? No? Thank you. Well, thank you, Stefan, for your talk. I think he's earned a pint of beer for his pint of fun. We're just going to take a 5-minute break, stretch your legs, go to the toilet, get a drink, and come back and have a special